such an asshole!
AssholeConsulting.com. Go there if you have any questions. We have a question, and he paid. And when you pay, you get the response. You send me a request. Can you make it easy? No, you don't. You don't get no response. Hey, Aaron, I would like to request a follow-up video on never dating bipolar women. About 2 years ago, I was introduced to a girl as a prospective girlfriend. When I met her, she had admitted to me she was bipolar. Then you run away. But that is not all. She also had a physical disability. She also had cerebral palsy. Needless to say, I did not date her. I physically did not find her attractive. Long story short, I believe with very high confidence that this girl wanted a relationship with me ASAP, primarily to secure me as a personal caregiver. Yeah, that happens. And it's not just, this is not to sing all those with physical disabilities looking for someone to take care of them. Women in general, on a genetic level, and not necessarily hypocritically either, that's what the deal has been for millennia past, is women are looking for a caregiver so that they can have kids. So when women are raising children or they're laid up on their back because they're pregnant, yeah, that's they do need a caregiver. So we could go into the exchange of, men provide and protect and women nurture and support, but it's not immoral. But when it's something blatantly obvious, kind of like this, or nowadays where it's like they're gold diggers, yeah, then it becomes an immoral thing. I would like to request a video with your take on relationships with disabled women, physically and or mentally. What is your viewpoint on potential relationships with women who are dependent on others to function or even physically survive? Thanks, James. Well, okay, let's separate them between physically and mentally. Mentally, that's a deal breaker. There's no excuse for it, because whether they're faking it or it's legitimate or not, I don't care. You got to deal with the same amount of psychological bullshit. So bipolar, social anxiety, all this other crap, no, bye, goodbye, gone, done. Not my problem. And I would argue that, especially if we become a lazier, more spoiled brat, cunty population in society, a lot of this is just attention whoring and attention seeking. I seriously doubt, I believe damn well near 85 to 90% of these quote mental disorders are fake and just an excuse for women and men to be arrogant, not arrogant, evil people, just to get more out of the relationship than they put in, to be parasitic. So I, we've dated, I'm sure all you guys have dated girls out there. I'm sure you girls have dated bad guys too. But it's just unacceptable behavior where they're manipulating you and taking advantage of you. And then they cowardly, like fucking cowards, hide behind, well, I'm bipolar. Women, that's kind of more your monopoly there. Or I have depression, or I have, no, you don't deal with mental problems. One, because I think most people choose to have them, not all, but most. Two, because that's not your problem. You have to have self-respect. So mental problems are out no matter what. Physical disabilities, well, it kind of depends. And here I'm more willing to forgive. Well, I am 100% willing to forgive because they're born with it. This is not their fault. They don't choose to be an insufferable, pain-in-the-ass, spoiled suburbanite bitch. I have bipolar, so I can treat you like shit. The poor gal has cerebral palsy. She was born with it. Now, at the same time, though, whereas there is no maliciousness or ill will on their part, you have to, again, be honest with yourself. And it's very simple. If you're not attracted to it, you're not attracted to it. And that's being intellectually honest with them as well as yourself. And it's going to be good, because if you date someone you're not physically attracted to for whatever reason, you're wasting their time. You're being intellectually dishonest with them. And it may hurt their feelings up front if you say, no, I don't want to date you, because, I've told girls, like one gal, she's like, well, why won't you go out with me? I said, because you're overweight. You're fat. And she never talked to me again. Well, tough shit, sugar tits. It would be better than me having to, date you and fake trying to, move the fat folds just to get in there. So, and I know that's so harsh and horrible, but it's true. And inevitably, ladies, you're going to find out truth is a much more compassionate thing over the long haul than lies. So, anyway, you have to be honest with yourself, and if you're not physically attracted to a person, that's just it. Now, on a genetic level, you're just not going to be physically attracted to most people with disabilities because of survival purposes with your children. I mean, a Down syndrome person, again, no, not their own fault, has nothing to do with them, but you're just not going to be physically attracted to them because you want your offspring to survive. A fat woman, it's like, no, that's gross. There's nothing a man can do unless you're a chubby chaser to under short men. Women can't get excited about short men no matter how hard they try because they want a big rip dude to protect them and their children. But when it comes to the physical disabilities, there are very few I can see where you would be physically attracted to them. And there's absolutely nothing morally wrong saying, oh, gross, I'm going to discriminate, and that's what you're doing against physically disabled people because you're being honest. You just aren't that physically attracted. Now, are there some instances where a physical disability, you could get over it? Like if they're deaf, okay, you could. That's just a communication issue. They're blind, okay, I could see that. But if it's something that's genetic that would impair your children, that strikes right at the core of genetics and Darwinism. And, you don't want your kid you want a full set of chromosomes. Sorry to be so bluntly honest, but that's what we major in here over in Asshole Consulting. I don't want my kid to have cerebral palsy. I don't want my kid to have whatever of the many different disabilities and ailments that are out there. So you shouldn't feel any guilt or shame because you're not physically attracted to someone who's physically disabled. Here's the other thing. I hate to tell you guys, life ain't fair. It's just not fair. You may feel bad, all these poor people. Yeah, you know what? It's not a perfect world. Sometimes you just have to accept there are problems that will never be solved. And I think you're kind of like, deep down inside, for you to come up with this question, I mean, you're probably a really thoughtful, moral guy like God. You're taking self-inventory. Well, should I find people with physical disabilities attractive? Well, you're a better man than me because I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm just not going to. But no, you shouldn't have any guilt. You should certainly, and this is where I actually do become a Democrat. I have pity for those who are actually genuinely disabled. Like, yeah, okay, I have one of my cousins has cerebral palsy. Yeah, she needs help. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean you cripple your life out of some kind of guilt or something like that. And you especially don't waste your love life on that. But besides which, you're even going at a genetic... I'm saying you can't control it. There's no way you could force yourself to be physically attracted to somebody who has a physical disability beyond something like blindness or deafness because it's just like, no, that's not physically attractive. So... but yeah, that's just kind of my take. Don't lose sleep over it. You don't owe this world anything. You owe it to yourself to find whoever you're attracted to and whoever you're in love with and have or not have children with them. You have the right to bang who you want. You have your own right to agency, and I don't want to say entitlement, but you are entitled to your own happiness. You do not have to be somebody's sex toy to make them happy. So anyway, hope that helped out. Best of luck to you. Toodles.